families. Today I'm here to talk to you about loose parts, what they are, how to collect them, what they can teach your child, how to determine which loose parts are right for your child, and so much more. Are you ready? Let's get right into it.
Loose parts play is a type of play that supports invention, divergent thinking, problem solving, and offers a sense of wonder to children. The loose part materials themselves are items that can be moved, carried, combined, redesigned, lined up, and taken apart, as well as put back together in multiple ways. So these are open-ended materials that spark creativity in our children. So this table of loose parts has a good mixture of natural elements, found elements, recycled elements, and I will show them to you up close and kind of introduce you to each of the loose parts that are here. They each serve a very specific function. They were chosen for particular reasons. So let's start over here with the sun. So the sun was made out of yellow pony beads and just playing cards. These are old cards that we have in the classroom, and as you can see, they're arranged in a pattern. So there's card, beads, card, beads, card, beads. And that's something we do a lot in the classroom with our loose parts, is just practicing making patterns with them, and the children don't even realize they're doing math. And it might be kind of hard to tell, but each one of the rays from the sun made of pony beads has precisely 7 beads in it. And that's something that loose parts are really good for, as well as counting, especially when you're trying to make something, specific, a designated design. Then it's really helpful for the children to count out each item in a one-to-one correspondence. The L over here is made out of glass gems. These go sometimes in fish tanks or at the bottom of vases of flowers. And again, this is done in a pattern, so we have a dark blue small, a large clear blue, dark blue, clear blue, dark blue, clear blue, so on until we make our L. The O is made entirely out of these little tiny glow-in-the-dark stars, and this is a size that would not be good for under 2. It's a little different at home if you're thinking of supervising your child on a one-on-one basis. If you trust them, you know your child, you know if they're going to put something in their mouth, what they're going to do with it. This O is made up entirely of old medals. These are dance medals from my much younger years. And using a combination of, glass, plastic, metal, natural, we're able to go through with our loose parts and practice, what is magnetic, what is not magnetic, how heavy is this, does the weight of this metal compare to the weight of this glass gem, and what does that mean? So for loose parts, really, there are so many ways to combine them and utilize them. Here is an ABC pattern, so we have silver, gold, green, silver, gold, green, silver, gold, green, whereas over here it was an AB pattern, dark blue, light blue, dark blue, light blue. Here is an E made out of acorns. These are acorns that the children helped find on a nature walk one time, so it's fun for them to see things in the classroom that they helped gather. And we love bringing in those natural elements. That's just, makes my heart happy. This P is made again of natural elements. This is bark from stumps we had outside. So we lost a big tree on the preschool playground, and we cut the trunk of it into stumps, and the stumps slowly deteriorated over time, and the bark fell off. The children pulled it off, and we took it inside, baked it, made sure it was hygienic, and now it's part of our loose parts collection. These are little plastic sticks. They're kind of like popsicle sticks in shape and size. And we used a pattern again to create an A, so you can see each side, yellow, red, green, yellow, red, green. That's color matching, comparison, size-wise. We picked the same size of each color. Here's another metal loose part that we have. The keys. Some have rings, some, have little perforated edges, some are very smooth, and that's good when we're talking with the kids to get them to use descriptive language. Yes, both of these keys are gold, but do they look the same? Well, no, this one looks more square, this one's missing a corner, and then we can count sides and say, oh, I see this has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, whereas this has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. The next letter is T, and it's made out of cinnamon sticks. And this is a fun sensory element to bring in. Not only is it, a natural element, but it also smells really good. The children like to compare, the smell of the cinnamon stick to the keys. This is more of a metallic, tangy smell. This is sweet. Again, using those descriptive words in comparison, contrasting. And then our S over here is made up out of peg people, and these are fun for the kids to use when building with loose parts. They'll come in and pretend, their little person is going around and doing activities, and it's good for role play. We're able to say, oh, I would like to do this. It's my turn to do this. And play out different scenarios to help the kids understand their emotions. And this flower over here is made up of felt leaves, marker caps, metal. Oh gosh, I don't know what these are called. We use them for magnetic play. Washers maybe? And then little spider rings. So again, you can see how loose parts individually might not look like much, but when you combine them together, you can create some really interesting scenes. And this is all recycled more or less. The marker caps, when our markers die at school, we just take the caps off and put them in a big box. That way we can use them later. So those are some of the loose parts in the Buttercup classroom.
So here are some ways that we can use loose parts for learning. We'll see with the bells, we've made a pattern. Red, purple, red, purple, red, purple. If we had a child at the table, we could maybe take 2 away and ask them to start at the top. Purple, red, and then show them, what do you think comes next? And if they said purple, we would put purple in the line and count it out loud for them to see if they're right. Purple, red, purple, you're right, purple came next. Or if they had said red, purple, red, red, does that sound right? And then have a conversation about what the pattern actually should be. With loose parts, you can also compare and contrast numbers. So let's see, do we have more big gems or do we have more little gems? Let's count. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1-to-1 correspondence. 1, 2, 3. Which one has more? And then a conversation ensues about 5 is more than 3. 5 is greater than 3. 3 is less than 5. You can use loose parts to compare and contrast weight. Which one feels heavier, the peg person or the egg? And then ask them to feel it. You can sort sizes. I see the yellow lid is big, the silver lid is medium, and the purple lid is small. You can mix them up. Your turn. Which one's big? Show me big. That's right. Which one's medium? There it is. Which one's small? The purple lid. That's right. For much smaller kids, you can start with 2. Show me big, show me small. With our rocks over here, how many can you stack tall? Let's count them. You let them stack the tower, then you go through, or as they're counting, 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rocks. You stacked 5 rocks up high. So to talk a little bit about the materials that would be considered too small for young children, we at school use what's called a choke tube. And it's this little piece of plastic, and inside it has a slanted edge to it. And if we put something inside the choke tube and it completely goes underneath the rim of it, it's considered too small for our under 3s. So for example, we have these glass gems over here. There's varying sizes, as you can see, and all of the ones in that bowl fit completely, entirely in this tube. So these gems are considered too small for our children under 2. However, we do have some of the larger size, and they do not fit in the tube. So this is not a choking hazard, and this is what we start the year with when our kids are still 2. We will start with these, and then as they age up to 3, we will introduce the smaller sizes. When it comes to something like a cork, it might not fit entirely in, but it's important to remember that this is a malleable material. If a child bites this, they could ingest a chunk. Obviously, the whole cork itself is not a choking hazard. It comes out of the top. but if they were to bite a piece off, that piece would be considered a choking hazard. So we really have to kind of play it by ear. We really sit close when we use loose parts at the table. If we have children we know mouth materials, they are not able to use corks, we won't get them out at a time where they're at the table. We might introduce that at a time where, you know, they're engaged elsewhere in the classroom. Or just sit very, very carefully and be right there and be present, reminding them this is not a material for your mouth. If you need something for your mouth, you can go get a drink of water, and so forth. But again, at home, you know your child. You know if they're going to take a bite out of something. You know if they're going to taste it, if they're going to lick it. A lot of our loose parts are more natural materials. All of the PEG people are unfinished wood. So in times like COVID, we will not be using these because they're just not able to be properly sanitized to the degree that we want to. Things like glass gems, they're very easy to wipe down. Pine cones, not so much. So just play it by ear, see what kind of materials your child gravitates towards, what you feel safe having out, what you feel you can clean appropriately, what you feel is best for your family.
Loose part materials will vary a lot between age groups. Over here on the left, I'm going to set up a provocation that would be for a younger child, and then over here on the right, I will do the same for an older child and kind of talk about some of the differences in the way materials are presented and the size and everything that is chosen. So this is what a loose parts provocation would look like for younger children. All of the materials are large, they're non-choking hazards, nothing that overtly looks like food or that you would want to chew on, nothing with that texture. So this is something, you know, we would set up for 2 and under probably, and just allow them to explore the different materials, compare and contrast what feels smooth, what feels rough. A very conscious choice we make when putting colored items out is to have pairs of them. So as they're playing, you know, and they put a red here, we can say, oh, where's the other red? Can you put the red beside it? And we'll practice those prepositional words: beside, above, around. And so all of the bells in here are colors that they can match, or they can create patterns with. Silver, green, silver. What comes next? Green. So the stones are all transparent. They've got that rainbow factor. What happens when you hold it to the light? Oh, does the rock look like that when you hold it up? Is the rock shiny? Is the egg shiny? A lot of language building opportunities here, and as you can see, the way they're presented, when everything is put away and the children come to the table to play, it's very inviting. They can clearly see the defined spaces, very good for sorting. You know, a lot of children will just take a bunch of items out and then put them all back in their designated places. There's a lot of dumping going on. They want all of the items on their tray all at once, and it doesn't matter what order they're in or what kind of design they're doing. They just want it all out. And that's a good opportunity as a teacher to step in and say, okay, well, let's see what goes together, what's similar. Let's put the tree cookies on the pineapple. Let's put the eggs in the bowl and the rocks in the cup. Your turn, what are you going to put away next? And then they might pick, you know, an egg, and they'll look at it and you say, okay, what else looks like an egg? Where do you think this egg belongs? And then they can go ahead and set it over here in the bowl with the eggs. Look, a rock. Where does the rock belong? Over here in the cup with the other rocks. So everything on this table right now is completely open-ended. There's no right or wrong way to play with it, but everything was chosen very purposefully. Everything was chosen with the intent of how the children could combine the materials, how the children could play with it. Balance a bit. We can say, oh, do you think you can fit a bell on top? And they might pick a bell and it might fall off, it might stay on. That's fine motor they're using. Hand-eye coordination, they're balancing, all good things. A loose parts provocation for older children might have smaller pieces, more delicate items, or things texturally that you think a younger child might be inclined to chew on. So this here is just kind of a wide assortment, and for older children especially, you can give them prompts. We would maybe lay out this arrangement and say, oh, can you build a bridge? We need a bridge to cross a lake. And let them go wild and see what they do. A lot of children will, you know, make a lake, they'll make a river, something that needs crossed, and then you would say, okay, what's next? How do we build a bridge? And they might pick up cork. You might encourage them. 1, 2, what could go across the top to make the bridge? Could it be maybe this rock? This might be one way a child builds a bridge, using a rock and 2 corks. They might choose to use the pine cone instead. They might choose to use the people as part of the bridge. It's up to them to decide. They might go 2D with it and use all stones to go across and back down to make a bridge. And it's really interesting and fun to see the way that different children will use the same materials and problem solve very differently.
Talking a little bit about found materials, this is our big jar of lids. Inside are everything from rounded aluminum can lids to milk caps and tops for, I think this was a hair gel at one point. More types of lids, the cap to a laundry detergent. It has the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. That's very good for number recognition. We have spaghetti jar lids. This is magnetic. This is not. We've got water bottle lids. We can talk about size. Which one is bigger? Which one's smaller? If you have a container of water out, you can do a sink float activity. Which ones do you think will float? Which ones do you think will sink? The opportunities are just endless, and that's why we love resources like this. They are free to us. I mean, all of these came from my home. I hope that this video helped you understand what loose parts are, why they're so important in the classroom, why they are just a piece of my heart forever. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to answer them for you. And until next time, have a great day.